ETH is still deflationary. It's still ultrasound money. And I'm wondering if you could help square this. So David and I were on a recent podcast we did with a Bitcoiner, Preston Pish, and he described himself as kind of like, not quite his words, but I think I'm summing it up accurately. It's like a scarcity maximalist. Basically, I believe in the stock to flow ratio, and I believe Bitcoin price go up because miners have less Bitcoin to sell. And so we kind of presented the case of like, hey, have you heard about the triple halving? Like in Ethereum, have you heard about EIP 1559? Have you heard about the merge and how issuance drops to 1% and then perhaps goes deflationary with EIP 1559 fees? If you are a scarcity maximalist friend, like take a look at this ultra scarce asset. Uh, the reason I still feel super bullish on ETH, Anthony, is because I don't feel like we've had some successes in the last 6 months, but I still don't feel like people understand this narrative. Like, there's still maybe under 10,000 of us who actually understand what is about to happen. So many people understand every 4 years there's a Bitcoin happening. And they're like, okay, every 4 years it's bullish Bitcoin. Okay, I get that. Almost no one still understands the scarcity catalysts that are about to be dropped like an atomic bomb on Ethereum. Like, can you reflect on that? It's like, what? It just doesn't make sense. That conversation with Preston did not make sense to me, and I'm wondering if you could make some sense of it.
So I think I can. And one thing I want to push back on is people who say they're scarcity maximalists, because scarcity is only one side of the coin. If there's no demand for your scarce asset that you think is scarce and whatever, then it doesn't really matter. Like you can print a token on Ethereum and make 100 of them, but if no one wants it, then it's not scarce, right? Like just because not much is available to buy doesn't mean anything. So I think being a scarcity maximalist is a bit of a funny thing that Bitcoiners like to say. But in saying that, scarcity is good when it has a demand side, and that's exactly what Ethereum is going to have. I mean, it already has that, but with 1559, we basically channel that demand side into driving value to ETH as an asset here. So, and on your point about who understands this, I mean, I think it's way less than 10,000 people who actually understand the implications of a ultrasound money world, which basically just describes a world post 1559 and post merge. And that has been my thesis for ETH for a very long time, is that if it takes, a while for people to clue into this, that's fine. But by the time we get to the point where the majority have clued into it, ETH price is going to be like, much higher than what it is previously. And that's why I was buying ETH during the bear market, 1 to 200 range. We sat there for a long time. I was buying ETH there with the thesis that people are going to discover staking and it drives value to ETH. And I believed that proof of stake was going to happen. A lot of people didn't. A lot of people still don't, because they think that real proof of stake is when the merge goes through. So, and same with 1559. I remember having arguments in late 2020 or debates on Twitter with smart people who were saying that you're betting on 1559 being delivered, you're betting on staking being delivered. It's like, yeah, but isn't that investing? Like when you invest in something and you're having an outlook on the future, you're betting that these things are going to be delivered. Even with Bitcoin, you're betting that more and more people are going to buy Bitcoin and it's going to increase its scarcity because more of it gets taken out of circulating supply. So at the end of the day, if you're a good investor, you don't wait for things to happen. You do it before it happens. And 1559, April 2019 was when the EIP was first proposed. I think ETH was trading at like $200 or something back then. So if you had bought then with the thesis that 1559 would be delivered, you'd be doing really well. But if you had waited until the official kind of a date was given, or maybe not much the date, but if you waited till that was merged into the network, you would be buying ETH at least 10x. I can't remember the exact price, but at least 10x of what it was then. So if you're a scarcity maximalist, that's fine, but you have to account for the demand side as well. And I think that the demand side really is that awareness side at the end of the day. Like if you think that more and more people are going to come into Bitcoin because most people don't own it, well, then you should be thinking that about Ethereum, because to me, there's just many more ways for people to get into Ethereum and many more ways for people to use ETH, because there's DeFi and NFTs and DAOs and like everything like that. So if you're a scarcity maximalist, then you should definitely look into ultrasound money. It's not just a meme. It accurately describes exactly what Ethereum is gunning for here. And if you wait until this happens because you're skeptical that it will happen, well, then you're just giving up all the alpha to everyone else. Like ETH could be 10K by the time the merger goes through. Like that's not far-fetched to say, because the merger is slated for Q1 2022. So, and that's like 9 months away from now or something like that. So, from that perspective, if people really are scarcity maximalists, then they should definitely look at ETH and the ultrasound money stuff. But I guess that there's priors there as well. You know, a lot of scarcity maximalists are Bitcoin maximalists, and they think Ethereum is a scam no matter what. So that's fine. They can think that. You know, maybe the flippening will happen, and then they'll shut up about Ethereum being a scam.
We said the F word.
Yeah, I
The
said